Okay, so guys, welcome to today's class. In our last class, what we started, we talked about sockets.io, and then after talking about socket.io, we now started building some. We started building a note-taking app. We did the back end to the note-taking app, right? And we started working on the front end, but we time was not really on our side, so we couldn't finish it in our last class. So in this class, we are going to continue from where we stopped, right? And we would see to the completion of the front end part of the note-taking app, right? Or the note-taking project that we are trying to do. First, the note-taking project is just a project to just help you guys understand how to work with front end and back end at the same time, right? If you want to build something full stack, you can use this route. You can use Next.js to build your front end and back end at the same time, or you can rather use this method. Okay, so the app is just going to be simple. You can use it to take notes down, right? So let's go to where we stopped, and maybe I might talk about the project a bit, go over what where we stopped. All right, so we were about, I think we wanted to start linking the login and the register and the rest, right? So this is what we've done. We've done users model, the users, okay, we've done the users route. It's coming here. So you can register and you can log in, right? Then we now did the notes part. So you can get your list of notes. You can get a particular note by ID. You can edit a particular note. You can add new notes, right? And then you can delete notes. So we've done all those, and hopefully everything is working fine. So let's look. There are things we might need to update on this part. For example, you shouldn't be able to edit or delete a note that's not yours, right? Already, the reason I didn't put that there is because at first you are only fetching for notes that are yours, right? So there will be no scenario that you will be fetching someone else's notes. So that's one of the reasons I didn't put that. But just to be secured, right? You can do it. So if you want to do that, it's simple. The first thing you need to do is we need to check here. Okay, we have request.user details, and user details should contain user ID, right? Because if I'm too fast, you can tell me to go back, right? So we have user ID, right? So let's see. Let's come to this users model. If we come down here, first to the edit. Sorry, my fonts are a bit small. Sorry, let me make them bigger. 1, 2, I think they are big enough now. So look at this. You can say if
sorry, do it again. One more time. Thank you.
no, this
Okay.
I've done it twice,
Okay.
so it's big. It's big
Okay.
enough.
It's okay. It's
So
okay.
you
Thank
say
you.
if req.user details.user ID is not equals to. So first you need to check for the user that has this. You need to get the notes first. So you want to say notes, maybe notes details should be equals to await notes model dot find by ID. The ID is going to be req.params dot underscore ID. Now you'd say if the user ID is, then you'd now say dot to string. because this ID is an object ID, not really, or sorry, not the ID. The ID for this notes, this particular note you're taking, right? Or sorry, the ID for the user that owns this note is going to, let me show you what I mean. Let me open MongoDB Compass to show you. MongoDB Compass. Let me open it up to show you what exactly I mean. User ID, this user ID that's coming from the middleware, right? It's going to be a string. But this note details, right? The ID in this node details is saved as an object ID. If we come to users model, we come to note model, we come to owner, you see that the type of owner is an object ID, not a string. It's an object ID. So if you come back here, if you try to compare this user ID, which is a string, to an object ID, it won't actually give you what you want. So you now say notes or note details dot owner. So the owner is going to be an object ID that is going to be sent back to you. See, is a type of object ID. So if you want to convert an object ID to string, you just wrap it in a bracket, or even if you don't wrap it in bracket, just put this to string. So to string is going to convert it to string for you. So then you can say if the user, that's if the logged in user or the currently authenticated user is not the owner of that particular node, then you want to return res.send maybe dot status can be 401. Then you'd say message you are not authorized to delete, to take this action. So the action might be edit, it might be delete. So I can do the same thing here where I need to edit. Okay, this is for editing. I can do the same thing where I want to delete. So before deleting, I check if okay, so this is not going to be underscore ID. This is going to be params.id. Remember, there's no underscore here, so params.id, the same. So let's check here too. I need to remove this underscore ID because the params here, the parameter here doesn't have any underscore. Okay, so we've done that part. Let me spin up the server for the backend. npm start. Okay, it's not npm start. Let me see what was. Okay. So let me see. Okay, we have backend. So I have to change directory into backend before I can then run npm start. Beautiful. So the backend is up and alive. Then the front end, I remember that what we did in our last class was, okay, we wrote index script. So since this is normal HTML now, while I'm here, I just need to click go live to go live. Right, and it's showing the form here, although I know you guys can't see it, but I'll then demarcate my screen into two so that you guys can see it. So let me reshare my screen. I think I'll just share my entire screen. So we have the login here with email and password. Then we need to work on register. So if we come back here, what are the details that is needed to register? So if we come down here, So let me make this bigger. If we come down here, we'll see that full name, username, email, password, right? Full name, username, email, and password. So I can simply come here and copy this form. Then I can come back here. Remember what I wrote? I wrote HTML and choose HTML5. Then the next thing for me to do is paste that form, but we'll take username and email separately. So this would be for email. This is going to be for username. So here I would say type in your username, type in your email. This should be type in your full name. So this would be full name. Full name. This would be register, right? Then the login, we said if you don't have any accounts, we've linked it to register already, right? Then to register, you would now when you're registered, you'd say already have an account. Already have an account, then this would be you linking to login, I'm sorry, to index.html, and you call this login. So if you do that, let's go back to let's go back here and let's see. So if I click on register, it takes me to the register form, although it's not properly designed. So let me work on the design for it. Right. So I can just come here and duplicate this, and I'll call it register style. Call it register style. Register style.css, right? And then in register, I can come here and say that I want to link CSS. So link my CSS, but the CSS I want to link is in ./style/register.css. Beautiful. So it still applies the design for me. Now I need to enable register to work, right? So to enable register work, here is what I'll do. Okay, so I would have to open a script here. I'll say src should be source should be ./scripts/setup. Remember, this setup has a lot of things that are important. Then I can then create a register script here. I could just say new file register script.js. Then I'll link it up. So linking that with HTML is going to be script src ./script, then register script. Now we need to write the logic to this is going to be a register button. A register button. So what I need to do is I need to pick all these IDs so that I can use them. So I copy that. I've copied all the IDs for. Okay.
copy multiple distinct items.
Okay. Yeah, okay, this is what I did. I'm not pressing any button on my keyboard, so I select the first thing I want to copy. Then after selecting the first thing, I hold down my alternate key. Then, since this password is not separated by a hyphen, right? I can double click on it. Double click on it. Can double click on username too, but full name is separated by a hyphen. If I double click on it now, it's going to only select name. If I double click here, it's only going to select full. So I have to drag. I'm still holding down my ALT, my alternate button. Then I can now leave it now since I've copied everything. Right? Sorry, since I've highlighted everything I want to copy, then I can now press Ctrl C to copy it. Okay? Do you understand it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Then you come here to register scripts. I can paste everything. But now remember that in JavaScript, hyphen is not allowed as a variable name. So I'll come here. Okay, then what you I know you guys will also ask. What I'm doing here is I'm pressing alternate and shift button, and I'm using down arrow to add more and more cursors so I can type all at once. Yeah. Then I'll change that to camel case. So this case where if you have two words but you want to join them, but the first word is totally small letter, the subsequent words, right, are in capital letters. That's the initials, or the first letters are capital letters, is called camel case. Camel casing. So if this was Python, maybe I would say register button that way. This is also accepted in JavaScript, but JavaScript mainly uses camel case. So that's what you should rather use. So instead of using register button with underscore, I would write it this way. So I could do this. I can now do this. I will now say equals to documents.get elements by ID. The ID is going to be that. Then the next thing so what do you think I should do next? Someone should talk. Someone should tell me. Someone should guess. What should I do next? Someone should guess. Nobody is guessing. Register button dot add. I need to add an event listener to the button. So I'm listening. So now this event listener is going to be mounted on this button, and we are going to listen to a kind of event, right? And there are different kinds of events. A click is an event. A double click is an event. A drag is an event, right? A right click is an event, but we want to listen to specifically a click event. So we are listening to basically a click event. We are saying when once you click on that register button, that something should happen here. So I would want to use fetch. Now, I remember that in this index script, we used fetch. Okay, we use fetch with await. Okay, no problem. I'll still use the same way. So I'll just say async. Then I'll say const response should be equals to fetch. Of course, where am I fetching from? So let me see, how did I write my index script? Yeah, URL maker, but I'll just copy this, paste it here. So if you guys have any question, you can ask. The URL maker is coming from this setup here. See it here, URL maker. And if you look, let's come back to register. I imported the setup above register. What this does is, since this is imported first, right? Or this is imported first, everything about this code can be accessed on register. if I brought this setup.js on below this scripts, this register.js, then it would actually like cause an issue because trying to use URL maker, it will not know where it's getting it from. But since I imported those ones first before importing register, I can use what is inside this setup.js in register.js. I hope you guys are following. Okay, so I just hope you guys are following. Or you have any question? Do you have a question to ask or a lot of questions to ask? Okay, nobody's saying anything. So let's see, what is the next thing to do? We would say register. And our register accepts a method, a post method. Okay, sorry, I opened that in the URL maker. So this is supposed to be method. The method is going to be a post method, the content type. So headers, in our headers, we have content type, which is going to be application/JSON. Then the body. Remember that the body is going to be stringified. Then remember that it's full name, username, email, and password that the backend accepts. So say full name will be full name dot value. Username is going to be username dot value. Email is going to be email dot value. Password is going to be password dot value. Right. Then when we get a response, we want to say data should be equals to await response.json. Now this, depending on how you set the backend, if you're not sending a JSON response and you're trying to pass your response as JSON, it can cause an issue. Okay, so someone said I should explain the URL maker again. Now look, the URL maker is just simple, right? What I did here is I just put the base URL to the I just declared the base URL, right, as localhost 3000. Then I'm saying this URL maker just simply concatenates the base URL with the other part of the endpoints you want to pass. So now the reason for this, the reason I did this is, if you look here, right, in my register script, I'm not writing localhost colon 3000 /v1 /auth /. I'm just sending /auth /register. The URL maker is going to add the HTTP localhost. Now, the reason for that is, if I push my code online, right? If I push this front end, if I want to push this front end online, I don't need to go to each of these, like maybe register, login, dashboard, and every other scripts to be changing their base URL. I just know that in this setup, once I come and I change this base URL, as far as all these files is using URL makers, all of them are going to get the change of the URL, right? So it makes it easier, right? We just know that the URL maker, in fact, this setup.js is the single source of truth for everything I want to set up. Just think think about this setup.js as something similar to having something like .env, but of course I'll push this online, so I'll push the setup.js online too. Okay, so I hope I've answered your question, Precious. Have I answered your question? So what I'm saying here is, now if I have 3 imports, let's say I import something else here, maybe another script here, I import another script. Now everything about, if I have a third script stack here, anything that is inside this, either this first script or this second script, can be accessed by this third script down here. This third script has access to any function or variable that I put in this two. Now, this is in fact, this is one of the reasons why having imports, right, is important, because if there's a global variable here named A, right, and there's a global variable named like, okay, and then maybe you change that variable from here, right? It can affect things on your code, but doing this, you just need to like be careful. Just make sure that whatever you're changing one place, like, doesn't really maybe affect the other file, right? Or affects the first file you're taking things from, or you're taking your code from, right? There are different ways I could write this this front end. There's a way I could do it that instead of me writing this setup.js and then having register script, login script, inside the setup.js, I can write everything I need. I can consume all the APIs inside setup.js, and then this register script will just be calling the endpoint and passing, or the function and passing in what is needed. Like, there are different ways I can make this quite simple for myself, but it would be somehow maybe not really clear to you guys also. So I have to go this long route, but it's fine. Okay, so let's continue. So we've done the register. We say, so let me see. We say if response dot status is equals to 201, which means it was registered. Then we can we can route you. We can route you to /login.html, right? But if that didn't work out, so let's see. If it was not a 200, what we can do is we can add a try and catch. We can add a try and catch here, and then all these things we wrote here, we put it in the try block. We put it in the try block. Then all these ones, any error that of course we want to, we can console.log whatever error we have, and then we can create an alert and say an error occurred. At the end of the day, you might want to remove this, right? Before you push online, so that you won't be printing out your full stack trace. Okay, so we've done that. Maybe at the end of the day, we will need this. So let's come back here. When we register a user, what is the response? So okay, we know that the response is user created. So we can come back here and say, if it's 201 and data dot message dot the data dot message equals user created, then we can take it to login. Okay, and also let me log out the data here. Then what's the next thing to do now, right? The next thing to do is we are going to load up our dashboard script. But then let's test what we've done so far for register and for login. So register Victor Cook, let me use my GitHub pass username. That say Victor@gmail.com. The password, then we should try to register. So let's see what is going on. So in line 26, there is an uncut HTML. Okay, so this just tells me I should refresh because maybe there was an error somewhere before. So yep, so we have message created, yeah, user created, right? So we're expecting it to take us to log in, right? So this is on line 26. Let's come back here on our register script line 26. So we see that data.message is user created, but I think the response status is not actually 200. So let me check that out here. Yeah, that's true. So I'd say status 201. Then let me come to the database and delete my record. I can't remember what the name of that was. So let me come to my environment, auth token. Okay. KC notes. Okay. So I'll go over to KC notes, IJK, KC notes. Then for the users, I have two users, sorry. Lookup Junior, I'll delete this person and I'll try again. So my full name, my username, my email, my pass. Oh, I mistakenly hit that button. Wow. Okay. So I'll do a little bit of form validation. So I'd say my password. And it's saying it can't get login.html. So that's going to be, let's come back here. When we try to log in, it was front end / dashboard. So I'll do the same thing here. Instead of / login, to be / dashboard / login. So let me come and delete that credential one more time. Then we go to our browser and then we check. Come back here. Register. Okay, so that didn't take effect already. Let me refresh and delete that. So this is what's like front end guys do most times. You have to check. Sorry, you have to check very well to be sure that what you're doing works perfectly well. So okay, he said it's still saying cannot get Oh, okay. I actually know why, guys. Look at this. We don't have any login.html here. Rather, we have index.html. So this would rather be index.html. So let me refresh this, delete, come back here, go back, refresh, full name, my username, Victor. Sorry, my username is VICTUK. This one is Victor. Password is that's beautiful. Then if I use VICTUK and then the password I used to log in. Yeah, so we've been able to register, we've been able to log in. Then we are going to look at how to get our dashboard now. So let's see, how do we get the dashboard, which is our notes. So I'll make this a very simple interface. Right, so let's come here. Our dashboard script is what we use to get notes. So this is what we would do. We would say, when once we get here, I'll just say load notes. I could actually make, okay, now, so I could do this. So this is like a one-off function that executes itself once. As soon as this scripts.js is loaded, it executes itself once, and after that you can't call it again except you refresh. So we can do this, but I wouldn't want to do this because maybe I might want to have a refresh button there automatically. So I could say function refresh, or let's say load notes, right? And then load note is going to call, so I'd say response should be equals to await. This is going to be an async function. I'd say await fetch to our URL maker. So this is going to be, let's see, sorry, it's going to be // notes / okay, it's just going to be / notes to find all my notes. So let's come back here. So this would just be / notes, then extra details here. The method you're trying to send is going to be a post method. The content type in the headers is going to be application / JSON. It's going to be application / JSON. Okay, this is going to be a get. Sorry about that. Then we can then say data should be equals to await response.json. Now, look at this. We've not included our authorization, so you can say you can say authorization should be, now this is where you guys should really look at. Look at this authorization. We have bearer and the token, but remember that when we're trying to log in using index here, we stored our token in local storage. Okay, we stored it as bearer token as in session storage, right? We used set item to set the item. So the item name is token, the value is bearer, and then this token, right? So now if you come back here and you just say session storage dot get item, then this item you say you want to get token. See the bearer token there that we stored, right? So let's see. Let's come back here. Let's complete it. Now, you will just simply say authorization is going to be session storage dot get item. The item you want to get is token. Now, this is another sweet thing. Instead of you, why do you want to stress yourself and be writing session storage dot get item token every time? So why don't you just come to this setup and create a function to do that? You can just say const get token. Then you say get token should be equals to that. Then inside here, you can then say your session storage dot get item, and then the item should be the token. Then inside this place, instead of you writing this long thing, you can just say get token. Just call it that way. It's going to, so let's come back here. In your setup, remember that you're going to return this. You're going to return it. You're going to return that in your function. So that makes it quite easy, right? Now let's come back here. If I refresh here, refresh, okay, nothing happens. Let's come back to dashboard. Okay, let me console.log data. So if we come back here, okay, now I know why. The reason is we've not called this load nodes to execute. So we call it down there like that. So if you look, it returns an array of empty nodes. You can use this to do something here, right? So let's start our design. On the dashboard, you can say, depending on how you want your dashboard to look. So I wouldn't want my dashboard to have a sidebar. I would just want it to have a header and then a button to add notes and then your list of notes. So I could then say, so now this is another thing. Come back, let's come back here. Look at this. We have a list of notes. Sorry, I'm using users here. Let me just rename this to notes. We have a list of notes here. Okay, so we have a list of notes here. Now, instead of just using find, you can use paginate. You can use paginate to paginate. Anyways, we might do that in another class. But let's see. Let's come back here. We have an array of empty notes that is coming back here. Array of empty notes. So let's start designing this. So I could call this header. My header can contain two divs. I would say notes app. Then here, instead of a div, well, I could have two buttons here. So I could create two buttons by saying button asterisk 2. So if I press enter now, it has created two buttons for me. Then I could say for the button, the first one should be add note. And then the second one should be view profile. Okay, so on click, so add notes should take you to a form to add notes, right? So I'll create that form down here to add. I could say new file, add notes.html. This would be HTML5. Yeah. So let's come back here. I could say, no, not on click. So, okay, you can use on click. Then here you just say location.assign. You want to assign the person to, now, see, you're using double quotes outside, which means you need to use single quotes inside here. So, or if you want to escape it, let's see if escape would work. Okay. Nope. So you would rather use single quotes here. You would say you want to route the person to / add notes, right? Then .html. I think it's supposed to be front end / add notes.html to add notes. View profile, I could just say, okay, sorry, this is supposed to be inside front end. I'll create a new file. I'll call it profile.html. Then I'll create my HTML5 here. Then, of course, where is it? On this dashboard, yeah, to add. So to view profile, I'll just simply copy everything here and paste it here. The only thing I'm changing is I'm changing this to profile. Okay. Then the next thing I need to do is I can have the main section here, which is the place I'm going to actually start adding notes. So let's see how we can style this header. So dashboard scripts, here I'll need to create a dashboard style. I'll come here, I'll say new file, I'll say dashboard style .css. Well, you can just call it dashboard.css. I don't even know why I'm adding the style at the end, right? You can just call it dashboard.css, register.css, index.css. Okay, then in here, you could say that you're looking for a header tag, and then the header tag you want the display to be flex. Flex is going to put everything side by side, not stacking against each other. So everything will show side by side. You want the justify content to be space between. You want the padding to be 4 pixels, 10 pixels. You want align items to be center. Then if we look here, our dashboard has a div inside. So I could just come here and say that inside the header is a div. That div, the display should also be flex. And the gap between each button should be like 10 pixels or more. So let's see. We have Note app here. It's not taking effect because we have not imported it here. So let's come back. We'll say link. I want to link CSS, but I'm linking /style. Is it style? Yeah, style, and it's dashboard style. So if we come back here, we see that it now looks like a kind of nav. Then on this main part is where we want to start showing our notes. So for this main part, this is what we can do. We can come to our dashboard script. Remember that this place is where this data contains the data for our notes. So, but the notes array is returning 0. You can then come to this top part and import. So you can say const main area should be equals. So now what I want to do is I want to import the main area, that main area div, this div here, or this tag. I want to use it right on JavaScript. I want to be able to add content to this tag. So what I'll this. Come here, I'd say that the main area should be equals to document.query selector. And the selector I'm looking for is the main selector. Right. So once I see that main selector, I want to say if data dot notes dot length is equals to 0, which means there is no note like the way it is now, then what I want to do here is I want to say that the main area dot inner HTML should be equals to this. Then I'll say div, I'll say no notes kindly add one. Okay. All right. So we have no notes kindly add one. So if we come back here, we see the no notes kindly add one, but it's not looking like very fine. So what I can do here is, I hope you know you can create your own you can name your tags whatever I want to name it, right? Okay, so I would say if this is a div, okay, what I'll simply do is I'll say this should be a class, and then I would say no notes. So class, and then there's no notes. So I want to style this no notes. So I'll come to my dashboard. I'll say dot no notes. That's the font size should be like 25 pixels. The font width should be bold. The text align should be center. Maybe the margin top should be like 40 pixels so that it will drag it down a bit. So we have no notes, kindly add one. You can even bring this add notes button here also, right? Then when we click add notes, we are taken to where we should add notes, but there is no design there. So let's do this. Where is it? So at this place to add notes, we'll create the form there. I can just simply copy the login form and use there, but I'll change how it looks. So I'll come here, I'll say add notes, I'll say HTML5, then I would include the notes there. Okay, so we have, so instead of, okay, so this is this is supposed to be register form. Register form. So this place to add notes, I'll just say add notes. Add a note. So here would be the title of the notes. Type in your notes title. Then the body would rather be a text area. So I'll say, instead of that, I'll say text area. That would be a text area, and then the placeholder would be type a note. The ID of this text area is going to be note body. Then of course, I need to create the add note script. So I'll say new file, add notes script .js. Of course, so this add note script is going to take, so on this add notes, we have the title, we have the body, and then we have the button. So add notes button. So I'll call this add notes. Okay. I'll remove this don't have an account because we are not going to make use of it here. We have add notes, and then we have the title here, the title of the note body, and then the button to add notes. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is I have to link it. So I have to say script src. The src is going to be ./scripts / add note script, which is the script to add notes. Then remember that I'll need this ID, I'll need the ID of the body, I think I should call this note title. So note title, my alternate key is down, note body, add a note button. Then on this note script, I'll say paste it there. My alternate and shift is held, so I'll just use arrow down, add note button. So I'll change this to camel case. So actually, this casing here, where you have hyphen, why? Okay, this where you're using hyphen, right? This is called Kabeb casing, K-A-B-E-B, Kabeb casing. So note body, note title. So we've done that. So I'd say it's equals to document dot get element by ID, and then the ID is going to be note title, note body, add a note. Of course, you still know the drill. Would say add notes button dot add event listener. Of course, want to listen to a click event, and then after that, we want to do something here. Of course, this is going to be an async. Then we'd say response should be equals to await fetch and URL maker, and then this is going to be /. So let's come back here. I can't remember. It's going to be /note / nothing. Okay, so I'll still use notes. So to add a note is going to be /notes, and then the method is going to be a post method. The headers is going to contain. Now, remember, we've not done one thing, right? We've not done something. Let's come back here. On this add a note, remember that we have not I have to add notes. Okay. So, probably I made a mistake creating two. So let me leave that one. Okay, so we didn't do this. We didn't import setup. We didn't import setup. So we imported setup, add a note. Cool. Then we've done that. What is next? We've added that. Let's come back here to see what we've. Okay, so we would say that the content type is application /JSON the authorization is going to be get token, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, get token. Then, of course, the body is going to be JSON.stringify. And then what are we stringifying? Now, let's be sure of what we are sending. Let's come back to this note. What does note accept? Note is a post, it just accepts request.body. Now, how do we know what exactly this is? Because we're just passing the body to the note model. Let's go into the note model. Okay, we just need title and we need body. Finish. Title and body. Beautiful. So the owner is automatically going to be added. So if you're confused about how the owner is going to be added, let's come back here. Remember that I said that the request.body.owner should be the user ID of the person that is currently logged in. So that will be automatically added. So we only need title and body. So let's come back to the front end. To add, we'll just say that the title should be note title dot value. Yes, then the body is going to be the note body dot value. Short and simple. Of course, if this is added automatically, thank God, I said that the status should be 201. So we can use that. We can use that on the front end. So let's come back here. We can say that if we might not need to check the data that's being sent, so we can say if the response dot status is equals to 201, that we will want to maybe we want to alert that notes added successfully. Then after, when you go and click OK, that yes, you have confirmed that note has been added successfully, we want to location dot assign, we want to take you back to that your note. We'll now say /front end /dashboard dot html. Beautiful. So let's refresh here. It's not beautiful. What do we do? So I need to create a style for adding notes. So I can just simply duplicate any of this. In fact, so if I want to duplicate, I can just simply type, I could just simply, as this is highlighted, I say Control-C, Control-V. It's going to duplicate it for me. Then I can then rename it to add notes style. Because add note style, then if I come back here, where is it to add a note? I need to import it here. So I'd say link, and it's a CSS link, and it's going to be at /style / add a note. So if we come back here, beautiful, looks beautiful. So I don't like how short this one is. It's supposed to look longer. So I can come back here and say, is it rows? Let me try calls first. Columns to, let's say 20 columns. Okay, columns are straight. Okay, so I think it should be rows, not columns. Okay, so I could say 10 rows so that it will look a bit bigger. And I'll say my first ever note. Here is my first ever note. Then I'll add. So clicking on add, let's see what happens. I think something happened. So it's saying internal server error. Okay, so why the internal server error? Let's go and see. So there's 500 there. Okay. So it's normal, you'd come back. So what you have to do is now you have to come back and check what did you do wrong. Okay, so /notes, post, content type, application /JSON, title, body. So this is okay. So let's go to the back end. Where is notes? So what is it saying about notes? It's saying 500. So let's console.log the error. Sure. Let's see what is really going on. So I'd say my first note here is my first note. So let's come back here. It's saying posting to /note is giving a 500. Okay, so let me see, it might be because of trailing slash. So if I added in another / here and then come back and refresh here, you say, let me just say first note. Why do I keep spelling this wrongly? So if I said first note and I said my first note and I click add, so it's saying there's a problem. There's a problem at the URL maker. Okay, so let's come back here. Trying to add notes, we have setup.js, which has the note maker. We have add notes, URL maker. We have a response here. So let me see. Let me say the data should be, let me check out what the data is. Right, then console.log data that you are being sent. So let's come back here, refresh, and come back to the console. I'll say note 1. Here is note 1. Add. So it's saying it expected a JSON. So which means there's a mistake somewhere here. So I have note body.value, I have note title.value. So now I have to check, do these two exist? Note title and note body in this format, and then add note button. So let me come back here. ID of note title, ID of note body. Okay, then add note button. So type a note, add note button, add note. So let's see. The problem is around here. So hopefully we are going to solve it. Add note button, elements, get elements by ID, add note button. We are listening to a click, await fetch URL maker. We are saying we are sending a post request to /note, content type, application.json. Authorization is that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, okay. You say?
You are saying application.json, but this is /JSON under content type header.
Okay, yeah, this is correct. Application, then /JSON, sorry, is the same thing I used here. Application /JSON. So it's the same. So the best way to actually do this is to examine them side by side. So we have response fetch URL maker to /notes. The type is posts. Okay. So I used headers before, but here I'm using header, which is wrong. I'm supposed to use headers. It's supposed to be S in my header. So that's why it's rejected, the backend rejected my request. So let me refresh here a couple of times, then I'll say, this is my first note. Then here is my first note. You click add notes, note added successfully. Okay, then it takes me back to the note app. But now, since there is at least one note, right? So let's come back here. Let's come back to this dashboard. Dashboard.script. Since there is one note, right? At least one note. So this is not going to show. So what I can do here is, so if we look here, we'll see that we have an object coming back, and the object has one note that's been added, and the note is has a title, has a body, and has an owner, and has its own ID, right? So let's see how we can look through that note to add it. So we can come back here. So we say, if the note length is 0, right? Of course, note length can never be -1. So if it is 0, then we say there's no note. But else, if there is a note, then this is where it gets interesting. So we then say main area. So what we'll do here is, first you'd say that the main area dot inner HTML should be equals to empty. I'm clearing out in case there is something inside there already. I'm clearing it out. Then the next thing I want to do is I'll say that the notes, that since there is data.note, I'll say data.note.map. And I'll just say note there. So this is supposed to be, data.notes. Yeah, I was surprised I would name it notes, yes, .map. And I want to map through a note. Or if you don't want to map through, you can say for let note of of data.notes. Then you can then say, now here what you say is main area dot inner HTML plus equals to, then here we can do a abracadabra. Okay, don't mind me. So say, since our notes, now let's look at the structure of our notes. Our note comes back with a title, with a title and a body, right? So we can decide to do this. We can say div, then here we would have that we have notes dot title. In fact, this can be like maybe a H3. And then here we can have a div. And then we can have notes.body. So that's our notes there. Then what we can also do here is we can also try and style this, because we don't just want, for example, I want it to be that the notes should show side by side. So I could say main area dot style dot display should be flex. Oh, sorry, the display should be equals to flex. Then we can say main area dot style again. Do I really want to make it a grid, a flex? I would like to make it a grid instead. I'd say dots. So grid template columns can be 1FR, 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 1FR. So 4 columns. So that's the first column. Let me add another note. I'll say this is my second note. I'll say hello. This is my second note. Add it. Come back here. Let me add the third note. Hello guys. We just created a simple note app. Add. Let me create another note for your view. Here is another note for your view, for you to view, or for your viewing pleasure. Let me add one more. So last but not the least note. Here is the last but not the least note. So if we come back here, you see, so there are things we can do. I could also say that the margin top should be like maybe 20 pixels, so that it will come down a bit. Let me just imagine at once. Margin should be 20, maybe 80 pixels, 0, and then 80 pixels. Yep. So the top should be 20 pixels, the right should be 80 pixels, the bottom should be 0, the left should be 80 pixels. That's what I just did. So we can actually start styling this. We can say style equals to, sorry, class should be equals to single note. Then here in the dashboard, we can say that anywhere we see single notes that we want to add a border. Border should be 1 pixel solid black. That the border radius should be like 12 pixels. What else should we do about it? Yep, so this doesn't look beautiful to the eyes. So I would say I'll come back here. Where is it? To the dashboard. I'll say I want to add gap. And the gap should be 20 pixels. So gap is going to give spaces between each of them. Then for each note in the dashboard, I can add a padding to it. Padding of like 20 pixels also. It's now coming to life. So let's say for the top, I could increase this to like 40 so that it come down a bit. So guys, we have our note app. I think this too should also follow suit. So I'll come to my dashboard. I'll say for the header, that's what did I use for the sites? I think I used up to 40 or 80. Yeah, 80. So they would follow the same line, at least the same line. So I think I should make the font width bold. The font size should be like 25 pixels. Yep. I could also style these ones. I could say a header div, and then inside the div, I want to check buttons. Then the buttons, the border should be, there should be no border. The background color should be black. The color should be white. The border radius should be 8 pixels. The padding for the button should be let's say 8 pixels, 12 pixels. So I think it looks better generally. Should look better. So I could add notes. So what is remaining is to view profile, right? And to be able to delete a note, right? And if a note is plenty, let's say a note is more than so this is another thing. If the note is plenty, we need to handle that case. So let's come back here where we are adding, or where we are showing the notes. We'll say if note.title titles are not always going to be too big. So we'll say if note.body.length is greater than or equal to 30. If it's greater than or equal to 30, so we'll say that we want to slice that note. Dot slice. We'll slice from 0 to 30. Else, if it is less than that, we just want to return note.body. So I'd say slice.30 plus dot. So if your note is longer than 30, like this one, hey guys, we just created a, then it adds that dot to you. Then there are other things we can also do here. We can also add buttons to view, and button to delete. You can wrap this in its own div. So we can say, can give this a class of edit, delete button. Okay, it can be view. I would say view, edit, delete. View, edit, delete button. Copy this. So we don't have an edit button. In fact, let me create it. So I'll just say edit. So view edit delete button. We'll come to dashboard. We'll say view edit delete button that we have. First, the display of this should be flex. So I would say, do I need to really justify items or justify content? Yeah, I'll just say justify content should be center. Okay, so I could say the gap should be maybe 8 pixels for each of them. Then for each button, I want to give it a width of 100%. Yep, that's what I was looking for. Give it a width of 100%. Then here, maybe a little margin top would be the trick. Margin top of like 20 pixels. Hey. So I think I would also want to, so where is add notes? Sorry, dashboard here. I will also want to do the same thing I did here to the title. But I think title should be a bit longer. So instead of, I'd say, maybe title could be like maybe 60. Let me do 60. Okay. Maybe 40. I don't want things showing on 2 lines like this one. I don't like showing on 2 lines. Okay, still 2 lines. Maybe it has to be less, 25-ish. Okay, yeah, so cool. 25. Let me try 25 to see. Yeah. So you can view, edit, delete, right? I could give these IDs. Call this view button. I could call this edit button. Then I could call this delete button. So the view and edit button on the dashboard. So I'd say dot view button dot edit button. In fact, there's a place I did a button before. So I could just simply cut this, come here and paste it. I'd say for that button there and for the view and edit button that they should have the same. Then for the delete button, okay, I could even do the same thing for delete. But the delete button is going to have a different color. So copy that, come down here and say that the delete button, the background color is going to be red, rather. So I could say red important in case it doesn't want to apply. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, so I know why they are not working. They are actually IDs, not classes. So I'll just come back to dashboard. Sorry, to dashboard script. I'll change these IDs to class. So we have view, edit, delete for all of them. So now what we can do is we can start implementing view, edit, and delete, right? We can just implement it once. If you click edit, it takes you to edit, right? If you click on delete, it takes you to delete and so on and so forth. Right. So I think we can just do view, right? We can do view. I think view and edit are not really difficult to do. I could just say I could add view notes dot html dot html, and then we'll then have delete. Delete notes doesn't really need. Okay, so I'd say maybe delete notes, maybe just a confirmation screen. So I'd say HTML5, for edit notes, HTML5, yeah, for view notes, also HTML5. Then to view a note here, right? So I could also create that here. I'd say the script here, the new file is going to be view notes script dot js edit no script Okay, so if you check here on our view, we can say on click, and on click should be view. We can have something like this. We can say on click should be so what you would do here is you'd say you create a function to view notes. So you say function view notes. The function should take an ID. The function should take an ID, and then, or if you don't want to do this, right? If you don't want to do this, well, let me do it. I've already started. So I could say location dot assign, and then we'll assign that we want to go to / front and / view notes / front and / view notes dot html. Then you would now say that, now look, you now say that query string, that's the ID in the query string should be equals to the ID that's passed to you. Simple. So I'm saying go to viewnotes.html, then take the ID with you on the URL. So how do I call this here? I'll just say viewnotes. I'll just call it viewnotes here. And then I'll put the ID there. What's the ID? The ID is going to be the singular note. I'm going to put this in quotes. So it's going to be the note dot underscore ID, which is the ID of that note. If you doubt, let's console.log anytime we click on that, and then we want to see the ID of the note. So let's come here. If I click view, you see the ID. If I click the view of this note, you see the ID of that particular note, right? See, each of the view I click, it's showing the ID. So now I don't just want to show the ID here. I want to take them to that place. So I'll remove this. I'll say view note where the ID is that ID. So if you click view now, it takes you to the page to view notes with the ID up here. See the ID here. So now your question will be, how do you get this ID and fetch the notes? So when we land on view notes, right, what we want to simply do here is we want to have the main area, right? And then we'll have script. Sorry. Then I think I'll just from here on just use the internal script, the script stack to just write my script at once. So I'll just say, so how do we get that part? So if you look at this, you can say that the ID should be equals to location.search. If we call location.search, let me console.log. Let me console.log ID. Let's see something. Now, the location.search is giving you the whole query param, but you know that we can slice some part of this query param out. Can slice some parts out. So if we say 1, 2, 3, 4, if we slice by 4, dot slice, and we slice, sorry, am I writing it outside? I'll say dot search dot slice, and we want to slice 4 out. So let's see, if I did 3, will it show plus the equals to? Yeah, it shows plus the equals to. So I'm slicing 4. So it will remove the question mark ID equals to remove all those parts. So I then have just the ID there. Then I could then say, I can then say fetch. So I could say, in fact, I think this whole thing is supposed to be wrapped in a function. So I could say function fetch fetch single notes, and then the fetch single notes, you just drag all this in there. Then after that, search single nodes by ID. You then say, of course, this is going to be an async function, right? So I'd say response should be equals to await results. Oh, fetch. And of course, let me import the other script. Setup. So the setup is going to allow us to use the URL. What's it called? The URL maker. URL maker, yeah. And get token. So I could just, let me enter that file again. Let me copy this too, because I'll be needing them to view a note. So I'll just keep them, but on silent. So I'd say I want to view /notes/ now the ID is supposed to be here. So the ID is going to be me adding this ID, concatenating it here, which is going to be the note ID. And after that, I would say that the method is a get method. Headers, the content type. I'm getting, so do I really need content type? No, I need authorization. The authorization should be the get token. So if we do that and we call this function at last, in fact, so I could say the data that is returned from that function should be equals to response.json. Then I should console.log that data. So let me call this function now. Fetch single note. So I'd say fetch single note. So it's saying get token is not defined, and that's because it's small letter t. So yep, so I have my note returned to me. Sorry, let me close that. So we have the note returned to me with here's my first note, this is my first note. So what I can decide to do now is I can say const main area should be equals to documents.query selector, and the selector we are querying is going to be the main selector. Then I could say that so this would be data.notes, right? So I'd say that the main area dot inner HTML should be equals to div so I would add this data here. So I'd say data dot notes dot title, then we'll have data dot notes dot body. So we come back here, we see here's my first note. So what I can simply do now is on the style for this, I could just let me just put in the style directly here. So I'll just say style, I'll say for the body that the width is going to be 100%, the height is going to be 100 VH, the display is going to be flex, the justify content is going to be center, the align items is going to be center, and maybe I could have an edit button here also. So I have that. mm, oh, okay. The button is actually a, okay. Yeah, this won't work because the button is an inline element. So I could simply say div, div, put in the button there. I'd say style equals to text align center. Yep. So then I can then start to play around with this. I could also decide to style the main. So I could say that the main area, should have a style, should display flex direction, should be column, gap should be like 20 pixels. Then for each of these, so like this, I could have a style here. No, for the title, we're using line styling to say that this should be bold, font weight, bold. So that makes sense. My first note. So if you click on edit, it should take you to edit, right? So I could say on click should be equals to location dot assign. Then here is going to be, yeah, this is going to be /front end /edit note.html. The ID would also be equals to plus is going to be plus data.notes._id. So if I click here, it takes me to where I'm supposed to edit my notes. So editing of notes, there's nothing here. I could actually go to login and just copy what I find there to edit notes. So how is edit I want to work on now? So I'll just say edit notes, edit notes. So here is going to be the title. Here is going to be the, okay, since we have something like this, we have add notes. I can just copy this and use as our edit notes. So in edit note, I'll just paste this there. Since it's the same style with add notes, I can use add note style. So I say link, CSS, style, add note style. Then once we are here, right? I'll change this to edit notes, edit notes. So once we are here, right, we want it that as soon as we land here, this input and text area is automatically populated with the note we want to edit. So first we'll import scripts, say scripts, what is it being called? So would Okay. So let's see, to view a node, let's see if I can reuse. Okay, I didn't do anything here. So let me see, to edit a note, to view a note. Okay, to view a note, I could use this. I could use this multiple times. Okay. I'll have to rewrite this. So I could just simply copy all that to fetch a single note, right? So here to edit notes, I'll just bring in setup.js. Then here I'll have my normal script tag. So I'll just say show notes. So, but where is the idea of the note coming from actually? So I'd say this is an async function. Let's go back to viewing a note. How did we get the single note? So I'll copy this, come back to edit notes, and paste the same thing here. So if we look, let me call this function to show that note. So if you look here, we still have the same note again. Here's my first note, but we want to apply it, right? So we have note title, we have note body here. So const, I'll just say title should be equals to documents.get element by ID. Then this would be note title. Then the body should be documents.get. So this would be note body. Then of course the edit a note button. So this would be edit note button. In fact, let me duplicate this. I'll copy edit notes, paste it here. I would say this is a edit note button. So once I am here, right, I would say that the title dot value should be equals to data dot notes dot title, and the body the body dot value should be equals to data dot notes dot body. So if we come back here, you see, if I refresh, it shows up. As soon as I get here, if I refresh, it shows up. So now when you click on edit note, what should happen? So edit note button, I'll come back here, I'll say edit note button dot add event listener. The add event listener is going to be a click. It's going to be an async function. So the function is going to be const response equals to await fetch URL maker. Let me check if the okay, yeah, URL maker. The URL maker is going to be /notes. Is it notes or notes? Yeah, /notes / the same ID. So I think at this point I should make this global so that I can use it. So if I put it here, so now this ID here is not in any function. So which means any function can access it. So I could say note / plus ID. The the method is going to still be so the method is going to be put. The headers is going to have content type. Content type is always going to be application/JSON. Authorization. In fact, I would have just copied this. Just say the authorization here is going to be that. The body is going to be a JSON stringified string. And this is going to contain. So let's see, when we are trying to edit our notes, let's come here, puts. So when we are editing a note, what do we need? Okay, request body. So it's still going to be title and body. So we come back here to edit notes. We know that the title is going to be the title.value. We also know that the body is still going to be the body.value. Okay. So we can then say that if response.status is equals to 200, then we can alert that notes updated successfully. Then after that, we can route you back to the dashboard. So location.assign /front-end/dashboard.html. Then, since this is something that we are trying, right? If we try it and it doesn't work, then we need to catch something. So I'll copy all this code that we've been writing since that was inside the function, we put it in our try. Then if there is an error, we can console.log the error. And then we can alert that an error occurred while trying to update your notes. Okay, so an error occurred while trying to update your notes. Bagam. All right, then let me see. So my first note, I'll just say edited. I'll say this is my first note that has been edited. Note of edited successfully. So see it here. This is my first note that has been edited. I could view it. This is my first note that has been edited. So I don't know if I linked that edit. So if we are in dashboard and we try to click to edit our notes. So let's come here to dashboard script. Let's see. So I didn't link edit. So linking of edit is as simple as coming to view notes. Where is the place that I wrote that edit? Just come here and copy the whole thing. I think it should be as simple as that, right? So I could come here. Where is it? So in dashboard, no, not CSS. The script dashboard, I could just come here, click there, put it. So we said, so on click, we want to forward them to, but now the note is going to come as note.id. Remember that here we are looping through the note. We are looping through notes, so it would be note._id because there's no data here. So we can edit notes there. If you want to delete, right? you can take the person to delete. So I think delete will be the last thing we will do, and then we call this class a wrap. So I'll say on click, I could just simply copy this whole here because it's the same thing, but instead of edit notes.html, I want to go to delete notes.html. So I'll just change this to delete notes. Then when you land on delete notes, right? I want to copy the same okay, let me not copy it. I'll just come here. I'll say main and say, are you sure? I could make this a modal, but I don't want to take that much time. Are you sure you want to delete this note? Then there could be a div here. They are supposed to be like 2 divs. I like putting every of my things in divs. So I would say button asterisk 2. So that is going to create 2 buttons for me. I'd say yes. Then here I would say no. So if you say no, I'll take you back to, I'll say on click. So if you click here, I'll take you back to location dot assign. I want to take you back to / front end / front end / dashboard dashboard.html. If you say yes, we'll call a function. So we would say, I could give this an ID. I could call the function directly here. In fact, let me do it. So I'll say on click. It's possible instead of if you don't want to like add an ID, add event listener, you can just say on click, right? Then you declare the function you want to call here. So first, let me link src. Let me link the setup script / setup.js. Then you want to call, you would want to say on click. So on click, you want to say function delete the note. So here you would call this function. You call this function here. So you'd say delete the note. You call it that way. So when you click delete the note, the first thing you want to do is you want to get the ID of that note. So let me just copy all these parts. So you want to first get the ID of that note. In fact, this is going to be an async function. Please don't mind me writing this console.log a couple of times. Then I'll say const result should be equals to, or response, anyone. Await fetch. Is it fetch? Yes, it's fetch. URL maker. Then I'll say this is going to be / notes / plus the ID. The ID we want to delete. Of course, then the next thing we want to do is we say that the method is a delete method. The headers, the headers just need authorization basically. So I'll just, let me come to dashboard and dashboard. Where's dashboard? Where is it? I don't feel like typing it. So I'll just come here. Content type to delete a note, just put it in there. Delete a note. So if the response, if the result dot status is equals to 200, so I can alert that the note has been deleted successfully. Then after that, I can then location.assign. I can assign you back to go to /front/end/delete. Sorry, dashboard. Ooh. Of course, we can also wrap this in a try and catch. We can wrap everything in a try and catch. So we can say try catch, try to do all these things that I've done. If it doesn't work, catch an error. So I could say first console.log error. Then secondly, alert an error occurred while trying to delete the note. Wow, so we finish. So if I click delete now, are you sure you want to delete this note? This is not properly styled, so I could come back here. Let me just make my style here. So my style is going to be that. So I'm going to do the same thing I did for edit notes. I'll copy. Okay, don't worry. Let me write everything from scratch. So I'll say that the body, that the width is going to be 100%. The height is going to be 100 VH. The display is going to be flex. The justify content is going to be center. The align items is going to be center. And everything on the main. So main, everything on you as the main text align is going to be center. Beautiful. So, or rather, I could say that the display should also be flex. The flex direction should be column. The gap should be 20 pixels, maybe 25 pixels. The justify content should be center. Oh, okay. So this would be align items. Yep. So do you want to delete? If you say no, we take you back here. So let me click on this is my second note. I want to delete this second note. So I click delete. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. Note has been successfully deleted. You will not see that this is my second note anymore. Right. So what is left is profile, right? To view your profile. So profile is actually like simple. If I say the main here and I had, so let me confirm. Scripts setup. So let me see, is there any route to view profile? Delete. Oh, okay. So I could say Well, let me just add profile here. So I'd say router.get, say /. So let me check. I didn't do any profile. So I'd say this should be profile and REQ/RES next. So to get the profile is quite simple. This should be async. So I'd say res.send should be profile. The profile should be await user model dot find by ID. The ID is going to be req.userdetails.user_ID. Okay, so that should return the profile. So if I come back here, so to get my profile would simply be me spinning up this script. I'd say function get my profile. So let's come back here. Of course, there's something you should not allow. I shouldn't send back password. Why do you need to know my password? So I could say that we want to remove password from there, so it doesn't send back the password also. Then we say get my profile with so this is going to be async. So all you just need to do is, let me just go to one of these script and copy what I need. So I'll just copy this one, but I'll edit it for you guys to see. So on this profile, I can paste this comfortably. I would say this is to /note/profile. This is going to be a GET request. It doesn't need a content type, but it needs authorization. So I would say authorization should be GET token. I don't need a body because you can't send body using GET requests. Then after that, if all is done properly, I want to console.log the data. I want to see what is being sent back to me. And also I want to call this function. Call this function. Then when I call that function, let me see, when you're in dashboard, if you click on, okay, so to view profile. So let me see. So let me open my inspect. So if I click on view profile, it's saying that notes/profile is an internal server error. So I guess that would be from the way I sent this profile. So authorization has token there, get my profile, awaits, fetch, URL maker, we have a get, headers, authorization, get token. So this is notes/profile. So is there anything I'm missing? Async, get my profile, result, fetch, URL maker. The method is get, the authorization is get token. So once again, let me compare this with a file I've written already that is working. So this is one of the fastest way of solving your problems. So first, so we say result, fetch URL maker, nodes / profile. Then the method is get authorization. Don't know if I spelled authorization properly. Get token. So let's come back here. So let me see. Let me remove this. Let me just say profile. And although I know profile doesn't exist yet, say const profile equals to that, and then I could console.log profile. So let me go back. Let me refresh. So it has something to do with the front end. Line 20 of my profile HTML. So let me go there. My profile line 20. So it's pointing to line 20 saying function get my profile. Okay. So the problem is actually from the front end. I'm not sure the problem is actually from back end. So let me see. Method headers. Okay. Authorization gets token. Okay. Then the data is the result here. Then we are logging at the data. Wow. So what should actually be the problem? So a quick way to know what the problem is. Let's come back to the server. So let's trace /note /profile. Okay, async request response next. We get the profile from the user details. We try to log it out before we send that profile back. Okay. So here is it. Not so everything looks good here.
So I think it's because we are using find by ID instead of find.
Okay. So I don't think that's actually the problem, because if you're using find is going to send an array, but you're just looking for is an ID you're looking for. So find by ID is okay to use at this point. Find by ID is okay to use. If we come to this test and I said /notes object ID field for value profile. Okay. I think I understand what is going on. So if I'm correct, if we come back here, let's do something quick. I think I know why that problem is. Let's do this. Let me log out request user details. So I'll just say console.log request.user details, request.user details. Then let me come and refresh here. Let's see. So if it actually even hits this route, right? So to start with, it didn't even hit this route. If you look at it well, it didn't hit this route. It's just stopping before the route. If it actually hits this route, it would have logged out this req.user details. But the thing is, it's not even hitting that route. So we have nodes slash. So let's come back here. The problem is somewhere here. It's somewhere here. So if I want to debug this, I would say this should be, I have to type it again, fetch, and then URL maker. The URL maker is going to be /note/profile. Then the method is going to be a get method. I hope I didn't use post there here. Let me just confirm. Okay, router.get. Okay, I used router.get here. Profile. Beautiful. So come back here to get requests. Headers is going to have authorization of get token. Then the result is going to be saved here. So we have get my profile, which is me calling this function as soon as this document loads. So let's see. So this is like quite strange. Schema type setters. Find one. So let me see. The token is still there as bearer. Authorization. Wow. So let me do this. Let me wrap this in a try and catch. So at least this would give me a more descriptive error. So it's saying that syntax unexpected token dash that this is not a valid JSON. So who is sending? I'm not sending anything HTML to the backend. So why is it complaining that? So what is actually complaining is it's saying that what I wrote here, this doc type here, is okay. Not this doc type. What is being sent back from the back end? Because if we try this here, profile. If we try it here, you see, it's saying it's sending back doc type. It's complaining about this doc type that is sent from back end. That this it's saying cast to object ID field for value profile. Cast to objects. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Actually, this might be a back-end issue. So let's come back here. So how did I access user details before? How did I access it? So this is it, req.userdetails.userid. Okay, so this is what I'll do. So let's take this, let's make it quite simple for ourselves. Let me refresh. No, it's still saying that that's not a valid token. Okay, so let me take this back. So front end, yeah. So let me try to log in. VIC2TUK password. Log in, view profile. Wow. So if others are working and this is not working, then the problem should be from here. So I hate it when I'm looking at the problem might actually be staring at me, but I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Get to / profile. Here we are getting to /notes / profile to get headers authorization. Wow. At the end of the day, we find out that this might just be one very simple thing that we probably didn't even take into consideration. So let's come back to this middleware. We know that if a token is not found, right, it would have sent us one of these that the token was not found. Let me console.log. Let me console.log this user details to be sure. Okay, so the ID comes as user ID is everything that is needed for the middleware. So which means the code actually hits the middleware, but everything is fine on the middleware. But after when it calls the next function, then we come here, notes, and then we reach this point. Okay, yeah, okay, I think I've seen the problem. Sorry. So now look, let me take this up. This is the problem. It is taking this ID. It's taking this ID to be profile and it's trying to call this route to get profile. So it's trying to find where the ID is this profile, is profile. So what I need to do is I need to put this route here, just above it, so that if it is profile, this route will first handle it. If it is not / profile, it's / an ID, it will pass here and then it will then reach here. That's the main problem. Wow. So this stuff, the way you arrange your routes, right, is the way it's going to be called. So this one was above, this one was always called first. So I can comfortably remove all this. Wow. And then I could leave this as just profile. So if we come back here and refresh, we see our profile finally with my name, my email, and my username. Wow. So what we could do there is we could then say, since we have a main here, that we could say console dot, no, const main should be equals to document dot get dot query selector, and then we want to query the main selector, but it's going to be main like that. Then I could simply say main dot inner HTML should be equals to that. Then I could say that we need three divs. We need three divs. So I'll do this. I'll say full name, full name is going to be data.profile.full name. Username username is going to be this dot username. Email is going to be that dot email. So we come back here, you see all my details down there, and I can just keep this empty. So if you guys know of this programming meme, they usually say that if it works, don't touch it. So how many of you have heard of that meme? If it works, don't touch it. Now, I think this case actually like applies to that meme. Imagine you're a let's say a new developer coming on a team, and you just see an empty main tag like this, and you didn't read the code well, and maybe this script tag is in another file, maybe it's in your JS file, and you just read try and you're like, why did they even put this main here? But the website is loading fine. The website doesn't crash, and you just look at it and be like, what's this one? Let me just remove this main. And effectively, you've removed the profile of that person, and they'll start maybe throwing error that there's no main and all the stuff like that. But looking at it now, you're like, oh, like what is it? What is it doing here? Right? So it's one of that scenario, right? So the last thing I can do here is I could say script. Did I say script? Style. The style is going to be what is it called? So I'd say body. The body, I think I did that somewhere here already. So delete the notes. I'll just copy this. Just copy it, come back to profile, paste it there, and go my way. Maybe I also use this main to shine. Maybe. So I'll say profile down here for the main. I'll remove this one. I just want there to be gap. So I know this is not the best looking website, but going into styling it and making it look very beautiful, right, is going to take a whole lot of time. But the reason I actually took my time to do this was to let you guys understand how you can actually use your JavaScript to implement a site like this, at least. right? I could do something. I could say Watson, I'd say go back to dashboard. Because you definitely want to leave this place to dashboard. So I'd say on click should be equals to location dot assign, and would say that should be /front and /dashboard dot html. So if you do that, we see go back to dashboard. If you click on it, you're back to your dashboard. You can add a note. You can now this one thing. You can say maybe you can do something like that. No. Back. Then here you can just say on click, you'd say history.back. So history.back will just take you back to the last page that we just viewed. So I'll just put it down there. So back, I'd say style, that's the color. You can't have two primary buttons, one place. Color should be white. Sorry, color should be blue. Background color should be white. Border should be 1 pixel solid blue. Yep, so if you click back, it takes you back. Add a note, go back, view profile. Maybe you want to go back to dashboard. You want to view a note, you can have that back button also there also. So view notes, while we have edits there, we can also have back button there in case you want to go back. If you click edit, you have edit notes. You can also have the button there. Where is it? You can also have that button there in case you want to go back and you want to go back again. All right, so and this was quite a long one. So do any of you guys have any question you want to ask? Or any question basically based on what I've done so far?
Okay, we'll need the code on GitHub.
So let me do that immediately. Git add, git commit, oh, okay. So this, I'm not sure. Let me see git init. Oh, sorry, git status. Okay, yeah, I'm going to create a repository and I'm going to push the code to that repository so that you guys can start. You can, okay, then I'll post the link on our Slack, our Discord channel, sorry. Then you guys can now get access to it. So apart from that, is there any question you guys would want to ask? Okay, so in the absence of any questions, I think we will call it a day. Thank you very much for coming to today's class, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, and bye.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, Precious, can you make me the host? You're actually the host now. Make me the host, or